Masechet Horayot Daf He, continuing from Dalet Amud Bet, 26 lines down, a little past halfway. Mishnah. Horu Bedin V'yada Ehad Mehen Sheta'u. If Bedin made a rule, made a mistake, and then one of them realized they made a mistake, V'amar lehen toinatan, he said to the other ones, you guys, we're making a mistake. O Shelo Hem Muflash Bedin Shamar, the most knowledgeable Bedin member wasn't there, like the Av Bedin. O Shahya Ehad Mehen Ger Ummu Mamzer O Natin. If one of them was a convert, Mamzer or Natin, which are all pasul for judgment. O Zaken Shelo Re'udu Banim, or an elder who's not able to have children, who's not able to see why. Harizeh patur. All these cases are patur because this judgment wasn't made correctly. Shinamar kanada, because the pasuk says regarding the korban eda. Then also by regarding punishment it says eda. Ma eda murada halan kan ruilan hora. Afida murada kan hora. Afidachi kulan ruin hora. Right. So we learn from the fact that by the same wording by capital punishment, it has to be legitimate judges. So too over here, and therefore we excluding judges now that are ineligible. Okay. Oshlea Muflash Badin Sham, he said, but we're not going on the fact that we said one of them is not um the Av Betin's not there. Minan I know this Amar Rav Shishit Vechentana the Rishmael Mipnei Ma Amru Why did Hamim say Horu B'Davar Shitukin Odin Votrin that if Betin made a judgment that the Siddiqim would agree they're Patur Mipnei Shreya Lem V'Lalamod V'Lam because they obviously should have studied it if it's in the Torah explicitly, like I said yesterday, it's their fault. Lo haya muflash Betin Sham Nami Peturim Mipnei Shehaya Lahem L'Lamod V'Lam. Therefore, from the same logic, if the Av Betin wasn't there, it's also kind of their fault because they should have consulted first. Next, Ne'emar Shem Ida, V'Ne'emar Kaneda, we don't exert Shabbat from the word Ida. Tijuachi Yakulan Ruin Hara'ah, they have to all be fit for a ruling. V'ataminan over there by capital punishment, you have to have good people. Tamar of Hizdar, he says, Amar Kirat Pasuk says, Ve'yisal Sebu Sham Imach, when Moshe was appointed to make Sanhedrin, the Pasuk says, they shall be with you. Imach B'dominach, with you means like you, meaning perfect, and no blemishes with your background. Okay? And now, why did that mean that they have to have father? Because they're colder. They're colder if they can't have children. Okay. Maybe with you means able to be like you, that you have like the Shekhinah, like Moshe Rabbeinu. The Gemara says, "Ella amar Rabbeinu Yitzchak, amar Kral." The pasuk says somewhere else, "V'nas'u etach," they shall be with you. Etach, but they don't have to be like you. Okay. Therefore, you have to have kosher judges in order to make a good judgment. If they not kosher judges, then the judgment they made wasn't good, and therefore they don't bring a korban. New Mishnah, Rubatin Sherin. If they made a mistake ruling, V'asu kol hakahala shorin. Everybody did that mistake. Main part they bring a bull. Is din if they made a mistake on they made the wrong ruling on purpose. Ve'asu shogin, and the Bnei Israel did it by mistake, following them. Mevi'in kisva u'se'ira. Each person has to bring a korban as a personal hatat and not a communal korban, because the Torah only says if Betin makes a mistake. And you might be asking me also yesterday, the cases that we're bringing with Betin, how can they be making these mistakes? The answer is that a certain time during the Beit HaMikdash, second Beit HaMikdash, there was a lot of corrupted Betins, and sometimes you would have either corrupted, not kosher people, or Rishaim, or not unknowledgeable people. These are the way it would happen. Sholehin, if Betin made a mistake, ruling, the Asum Median Bnei Israel knew it was wrong, and they still did it. Hara'elu Peturim, then they are patur because they did it on purpose. Shalchim Asum is din harei paturim. He says in the first case, Hashukudimad Mizil Hayav. Sounds like if it was done a mistake, it's as if he did it on purpose. And each person's Hayav Hatat. The Hayachadim was the case. Sharu Batin Shahilib Mutar. What Batin said, let's say that the Halib fat is Mutar. Then Haleb do Bishuman V'Achlon, and they seemingly confused it with a piece of Mutar fat, and they ate the Halib. Meaning, they thought they were eating the Mutar fat, but they accidentally ate the Asur fat, which Batin said was okay. In that case, it's bring a korban. One second, that was our big discussion on Bet Amud Aleph and Bet Amud Bet. Does that answer his question? Whether or not you ate the thing by mistake? If you're Hayab, Gemara says no. Since the Mishnah said earlier a case where Bedin did the ruling on purpose and Bnei Yisrael did by mistake, then the next part of the Mishnah teaches you the next case where Bedin made a mistake and Bnei Yisrael did it on purpose. But that's just wording of the Mishnah just to keep the language the same. But that you can't imply this halacha explicitly for Rami Hama. Okay, third Mishnah of the day, and we're not even 5 minutes in. Horu Bedin Bnei Israel made a ruling them a mistake. The Asu Koha Kahal Oruban Apien, most Bnei Israel or the entire Bnei Israel acted on the ruling. But the in part, the court brings a korban. And Bnei Israel's Batur. The Aur Chamim, they made a mistake regarding the Azara, the in part of Israel. They have to bring a bull and a goat. But Esau brings nothing. David of Meir, it's going to get ear. Rabbi Yehuda Merida says, Shneim Asar Shevatim, Meve'in Shneim Asar Shvarim, each Shevet brings one bull each. U'ba'ar Chaim, if it was mistaken, Dam Tazra, Meve'in Shneim Asar Parim, U'Shneim Asar Seirim, each one brings one bull and 12 and one goat, for a total of 12 each. Rabbi Shimon, third opinion, Shosha Asar Parim, 13 bulls are brought. One for each Shevet and one by Bedin. Baruch Hu, it was a Adazra mistake. Shosha Asar Parim, 13 bulls. And Shosha Asar Serim, also 13 goats. Par B'Seil Chol Shevet, each bull and goat for each Shevet. Par B'Seil Chol Betin, and also a bull and goat for Betin. Horu Betin, Betin made mistake ruling. V'asu Shiva Shvatim Urba, and most of majority of the Shvatim, 7 Shvatim, or majority of the people of those Shvatim acted on it. Within par, the Bedin brings the korban. Ubarachim was Avodah Zarah. Within par, they bring the bull and the goat to the mayor, according to the mayor. Rabbi Dan Rabbi says Shiva Shvatim Shahatu within Shiva Parim. If it was 7 tribes, they bring the 7 bulls, one for each. Which are Shvatim Shlohatu, the other Shvatim did not sin. Within Alden par, they also bring a bull. Shaf Elu Shlohatu, even if it was not sin, within Alden Hotin, they bring a korban for those who sin. Therefore, even if they didn't sin, you're still bringing 12. Rabbi Shimon says Shimona Parim 8 bulls, one by each Shevet, one by Bedin. U'ba'ar Chamim regarding Avodah Zarah, Shimona Parim, Shimona Se'irim 8 bulls, 8 goats. Par v'se'il l'chol Shevet Shevet, one bull and a goat for each Shevet. Par v'se'il Bedin, also one for each for Bedin. He says that Shvatim did not sin, don't bring anything. Horu Bedin Shelachad Mina Shvatim, if Bedin of the Shevet made a mistake, right? So besides the main Bedin of Sanhedrin in Yerushalayim, each Shevet had their own uh, Supreme Court. So if the Shevet made a mistake, Bedin, v'aso oto Shevet apiyan, and that Shevet listened to them made a mistake, oto Shevet shu hayab, that Bedin, so that tribe is hayab. Ush'ar kosh between all the tribes, other tribes are not hayab. Divrei Be'yi, that's considered bidah. Rahim say no. En hayavin Ela al Horayot Betin Shehagol Bevad. The only time Bnei Israel Chayav for Korbanot is, or the courts are Chayav only for the main court of Yerushalayim. Shnei Pasuk says, "Ve'im kol adat Yisrael yishku." Below adat Shevet sounds like only the entire assembly, yani the main court, and not just the smaller courts. And that's why the only time that the Shevet would have to bring a korban for the ruling of its court is, there's no such thing as the main Shevet court bringing a korban, only the main court. Okay, Tanoran. Yeah, the Ushahoru, let's say the Betin made a mistake and they realized. V'ta'u ma shehoru, but they also weren't sure which mistake they made. Meaning, let's say Bnei Israel, the Betin made a mistake that a certain type of cheleb is asur. Then, Bnei Israel made a mistake and they ate that cheleb that is asur, and they also, let's say, ate blood. Now, Betin realized they made a mistake, but they're not sure which one of the two sins was their mistake. Yeah, maybe you might think they should bring a korban because you know for sure they made a mistake on one of them. Talmud the pasuk says, right? You have to know what the sin was, and not just know that they're sinners. Since you don't know which sin it was, you can't bring a korban. Asher hatu, that they sinned, hatu shnei shvatim has to be torma 2 shvatim minimum. Mevin shnei shvatim, you bring 2 bulls. Hatu shosha, 3 tribes sinned. Mevin shosha, you bring 3. Oh, maybe he says no. That's what's saying as follows. Maybe it means 2 people brings 2 korbanot. 3 people, maybe 3 korbanot. The Mother of Pasuk says, Hakahal, the congregation, Hakahal Hayav, Vechol Hakahal V'Kahal Hayav, only the congregation and each Shevet is Hayav for their own thing, right? So we're going to say soon where we know that Kahal means Shevet. Can't say that was the case. Hadu Shnei Shvatim, if 2 tribes sinned, Levin Shnei Parim, 2 bulls. Hadu Shva, 7 tribes sinned, Levin Shila, you bring 7. Ushar Shvatim Shlo Hatu, even the ones that didn't sin, Levin Aldein and Parabad, they each bring a bull. Shavilu Elu Hatu, Levin Aldein Hatu, Lechachmer Kahal, Chayav Kol. Therefore, that's what Pasuk says congregation to make each Shevet Chayav, even if they didn't sin. Divrei Rabbi does contribute that. Rabbi Shimon says no. Shva Shvatim Shahatu, those that sinned, Levin Pashiva Parim, they bring the 7 bulls. But Betin maybe Inoto Aldein Parim, also Betin brings the korban. Shnemar Lamata Kahal, on the bottom by the bull says the word Kahal. Then also above says Kahal. Mat Kahal. Just like over there by the word Kahal above. Betin Kahal means Betin and the congregation. Af Kahal Mulamata, Betin Kahal also referring to Betin and the congregation, and separately from the Shivatim. Okay, remember it says Shiva Shivatim Shahatu, that's the one that sinned. Betin Mevi'in Al Par, Betin brings the korban. Behem between they don't bring nothing. Nemar Kal Halamata, Nemar Kalamat, Kamala. He also has to bring the Shaf from the word Kal. Mal Kal, Morlamala, Batin, Botsibor, Zabatin over there, brought it, not the people. Afka Halamata, Betin, Botsibor, also Betin, not the Tzibor. Rishon Azar Mer Mishamo, Rishon Mazar said in the name of Meir, Hat Ushi Shashvatim made six Shvatim made a mistake, Vehemru Bo Shekal. And even though there's six Shvatim, which is half Shvatim, but they have majority of the people. They're the ones who sinned, or Shiva, or seven tribes sinned. Afapisha in Ruba Shekal, even though they don't have the numerical majority of the people. Meve'in par, Bedin brings a korban. Right? So majority of people or Shivatim brings a communal korban by Bedin. Okay. Amar Mor. V'node'ah hatat. When Abirah becomes known, v'lo shiv'adu hatin, not when we're saying the sinners become known. That means you have to know which sin was the mistake. Mantana, who's the Tana according to Mar, Rabbi Damarav, Beitim Ravar, the Lord Kilazar, it's against Rabbi Eliezer. Why? The Tana says Rabbi Eliezer holds regarding a case where a guy is not sure whether he ate Isur fat, which Isur fat he ate. Did he eat the Isur fat of Haleb, which is Asur, or did he eat leftover meat, Notar, which is also Asur? Now you might think, Manashach, he should bring Kuban Hatat. Im Halev, Chalev, Ir Halev, Hayav, is a Chayav Kuban Hatat. Notar Chalev, Ir Notar meat, Hayav also Chayav. So we see Abelezer hold that you're Chayav even if you don't know. And therefore, our Mishnah seemingly going against that by saying that if they don't know, you don't bring. Rashi says, I feel to Abelezer. Maybe Abelezer would agree in that case. Shani Achan, in the case of the Bedin, in the case of Bedin's Korban, Diktiv Asher Hatu Aleh, because the pasuk specifically says that you need to know which one. But by Rabbi Eliezer, maybe not. Rabbi Eliezer could be it's different by a personal korban. Gemara says no. Hatunami Haktiv Asher Hataba. Pasuk also says regarding a person, it also says that he sinned. He should know. Seemingly uniform. Gemara says how many by know that pasuk means something else. The Pirat limit aseg, that's excluding a case that a person brings a korban hatat. He does not bring korban hatat if he made a avira while doing something else. Meaning the guy picked up a knife on Shabbat, and while he picked it up, he accidentally cut a plant, which is of course hatat if did on purpose, but since he was mita'asek, since he was preoccupied with something else, he's patur. That's what the pasuk teaches you, and therefore no proof. Okay. My tamad Yehuda. What's the reason of Yehuda? Kasavar arba'a kahala k'divi says since the pasuk right there, since the pasuk wrote the word kahal four times. It says it four different ways as well. Kahal, ha-kahal, kahal, ha-kahal. Twice without a head, twice with a head. Right? So, Hada hayab akol kahava kahal. One teaches you the yachia for each and every shevet. The chad lahora'at liya bedin ma'aset lui bekahal. One teaches you that the ruling has to be by bedin and the action has to be by Bnei Israel. The chad ligiriran. One to teach you that even the ones the shevatim did not sin, bring a korban with those that did. The chad leshevet she'asa b'horat bedin. One also teach you that a shevet that acted on its own bedin without the bedin of Yerushalayim also brings a korban. But Bishmon do. Klata halaklibi, he goes only three words are able to be learned from. Hakahal, kahal, hakahal. That fourth kahal, me'ine hakahal urhed dikrahu, that fourth time it says, me'ine hakahal, that's the way the pasuk is written. The Irish, like he says, like people say, me'ine depending, like people say, from the eyes of the person. That's just the phrasing, and you can't learn anything from there. And therefore, three of them is what? Had one teach you lahayva kol gagal, each shevet chayah. Utreach, the other two, ne'emar lamata kahal, was like over there written by the bull says kahal. Ne'emar lamalla kahal, over there says the congregation says kahal. Malam, like over there, Betin kahal, is Betin has to bring a korban with the Bnei Israel. Afghan, so below, Betin kahal, the korban of Betin is brought by the Bnei Israel and the court. The mayor, according to the mayor, kahal, kahal, the Rish has no like that, there's no hidush there. Hilkach, tvei kahal, even if he has two kahals to learn from. Miba'ale l'mar l'mata kahal v'nemar l'mar kahal, he has gzer shava. Mahalan betin v'otzibur, over there, betin brings it up, not Bnei Israel. Afkan, so over here, betin v'otzibur, betin brings it and not Bnei Israel. Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar, my time, why does Rabbi Shimon hold what he holds? Steve Pasuk says, Ve'haya im'enei ha'ida, for the eyes of the people. They made a mistake. Alma mi'uta, we see even if people are sinning are less than majority, the minority. Diktiv me'ayne, from all, not all. Okay. Ukti pasuk says, Ki lechol ha'am bishra lemimra druba'in. Sounds like only if the avira is majority. Mi'uta lo, not minority. Hakesad, well, how's this? How do you fix the contradiction? Asu shisha v'henu r'boshakal, if Bnei Israel sinned, six tribes, and they're majority, or seven tribes, even though not majority, hayvin, that's when you're chayav. That's how you explain it to Pesukim. You have majority and not majority, both Hayav. But Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Meir, the Hora'at Kliyav Bedim Maaset Kliyav B'Kalina, how do they know? They use the Pesukim for other things. How do they know that Bedin has to make the mistake and Bnei Yisrael have to do it to follow Bedin in order to be Chayav? Mabaya, that Pasuk says, "V'haya me'enei ha'eda ne'asta l'shchaga." It was done through the eyes of the people. Meaning, mean it was done because someone else, which is Betin. It was unintentional by the people. وتشيخني both pasukim. Only the first pasuk have a mina aflu mi'uta. You might think even minority sinned, you bring a chayav. La'achi k'tiv l'chol ha'am mishkad, if in the second pasuk, you majority. Be'ikad l'chol mishkad, in the second pasuk, have a mina, you might think ada avdi bedina v'hada ruba. Maybe only chayav bedina does it with Bnei Israel. La'achi k'tiv v'haya im me'ene hada, and I said there for the second pasuk, refers to the people, not bedin. Now, one second. How do you teach me that? Now, those pesukim are taught by Avodah Zarah, where it says, "Yalfinan me'ayne me'ayne b'gzer shava." Okay, haru betin shel echad, the betin of one of the courts of the tribes. Shevatim made a ruling as the last part of the Mishnah. What's going on? Ibailu shevet echad Rabbi Yehuda b'rohat betin hagadol. According to Rabbi Yehuda, if one shevet went against the ruling of betin of Yerushalayim, the main one, mi maiti she'ar shvatim odo. Do the other tribes, the other 11, bring a korban or not? Me, Amrina, and Shivatim, do we say same way, seven tribes sin, Hudmaiti Sha'ar Shivatim, but that's when the other five have to join in, Mishum de Ikrua, because majority. Of a Had Shevet, maybe a single Shevet, later, but it's not majority. Look, maybe no one else gets involved. Right, you're not going to make 11 other tribes get involved. Maybe, maybe no difference. One tribe sins, everybody brings it. Same way seven brings five. Tashma bring proof. Mahen Mivin, what do they bring? Pare had one bull. Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Shimon says two bulls. Now, my scheme, what's the case? If it's about seven tribes sinned, Rabbi Shimon Kmanebai. Rabbi Shimon will need eight bulls, one for each Shevet and one for Bedin. El Dahad Shevet must be this Bartas one Shevet sinned. B'may, who says? If it's not a case of Bedin of the own Shevet, Rabbi Shimon Letle, Rabbi Shimon does not hold that. Rabbi Shimon is not chayav. That does not make you bring a korban. Ela behora'at Bedin go, maybe some Bedin of Yerushalayim. So we see that the Braita talking about a case of one Shevet that sins from Betin Yerushalayim and it makes everybody brings. V'tana Kamanani, who's the Tana according to? Inim Rabbi Meir, everything Meir, Harubai, he needs a majority of Shevatim to make the sin. Elav Rabbi Yehuda, and it must be Tamar Rabbi Yehuda with one Shevet. Amri not proof. Hachma Eskim Stomav, Kiyon Shahatu, Shisha Shevatim, six tribes sin, Vehen Ruba Shrekal, the majority. Rabbi Shimon Belazar, he's going to be Rashba. And Rashba, man, Mishmo, Hatu Shisha of six tribes made Abra, Vehen Ruba Shrekal, they're the majority. Oh, Shiva or seven sin, Al Pisha Enam Rubash Taklan, they're not majority, but the in part they bring a bull. We see that it could be talking about a case of majority of tribes or majority of people and not a proof of a single tribe. Tashma is bringing different proof. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Shevet Sha'asa Bara'at Betino, if a betin, if a Shevet acted on its own betin, Oto HaShevet Hayav, that Shevet Hayav, Ush'al Kol Betin Betin, other one Patur, Urad Betino Agdol, but it was the main betin, Afil Sha'ar Betin Betin, everybody's Hayav. So clearly, single Shevet not involved. Sorry, single Shevet from the main betin, you do drag in the other Shevatim. Shemar, not good proof. Marashi Makin Namadek, you prove from Mishnah as well. Proof from our Mishnah is as follows: Tani Asa Oto HaShevet Apihem. If that Shevet acted on the ruling, Oto HaShevet Hayab Ushar Kushventurin, we see that Shevet's Hayab other Shevatim are Patur. Lama Lemitne Ushar Shevatim Paturim. Why is it mentioned the other ones are Patur? Hatani Oto Shevet Hayav. We already mentioned that one's Hayav. Bekevan Netana Oto Shevet Hayav. The male Dedenet Shahar Shevatim Paturim. Then, if you tell me that one's Hayav, then I could figure out myself the other one are Patur. Must be. Ella Hakmashman teaches you the Barad Bedino regarding to its own court. Who does Shar Shevatim? That's when others are Shevat Patur. Avrad Bedino Agadol, but if it's the main Bedin. Afiu Shar Shevatim Hayiv, if the other ones are Chayav, even if it was one Shevat doing it, Shmamina, good proof. Okay, I have a question. Shevet Echad Sha'asa Barad Bedin Agadol Rabbi Shimon. According to Rabbi Shimon, one tribe acted on the main Bedin. Mimaiti Olo, do they bring the Korban Param Davar or not? Tashma, Mahim Bevin, what do they bring in the Breta? Par Ehad, one bull, Bishmon Mer, Shneparim, two bulls. What's the case? Ma'askina, Eila Mashhatu Shiva, all seven. If seven tribes sinned, that can't be. Shneparim can't be two bulls. Shmona Parim, he needs eight. 7 plus 1. One tribe. What's the case? Elam Bedin of his own court. Maybe Shimon let later, Shimon doesn't hold that. Elam Bedin Agadol become Bedin, and we see it works. That's not a good proof. Tana Kamamani, who's according to Idri Meir, if he's going to the mayor, Harubaini is majority. Idri Bida, Bida, Sha'ar Shatim Namimati, the other tribes also have to bring. Elahamani, who's according to Rajba, Ukti, the time like we said earlier, to my case, the majority of Shvatim. That's okay, fine. Yeah. Tashma, next part of the Mishnah. והחכמים אומרים לעולם אינו חייב על הוראת בית דין הגדול. You know, the only חייב on the main בית דין. Man Hachamim was according to. Either the mayor is going to mayor, Ruba I need majority. Elav Vashbi Shimon, he must be according to Shimon, and we see that a single shevet that makes an avirah because the main betin is chayav for Kavan Shmami, not good proof. Amen, the Amen.